वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः. In the previous satsanga, we just entered into the Bhagavad Gita where we saw how Dhritarashtra, the father of the Kauravas, he is listening to Sanjaya narrate the events of the battlefield. That is the context for how the Bhagavad Gita is set. That is, everything that we see, it is in the form of a dialogue that Sanjaya is narrating to Dhritarashtra. Now, Dhritarashtra's blindness is not merely physical, it is also metaphorical in the sense that he was blinded by attachment. He did not know what is good, he did not know what is bad. He wanted his sons to get the kingdom, whether it's right or wrong. And that was the reason for a lot of the confusion that happened. So he asks Sanjaya, Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya. What are my children doing and what are the sons of the Pandavas doing? Then Sanjaya begins to narrate how Duryodhana on one side of the battlefield is having a conversation with Dronacharya, and in that conversation itself we can see how arrogant he is. He is going and telling his guru, see, on the other side of the battlefield all your students, your beloved students are there. Are you proud of all of them? And these are the people who are there in my army. He is telling his guru that he is the one who has gathered this army. The person who trained him, who taught him everything. This is the attitude he has towards his guru. So you can imagine the attitude he has towards everyone else. And it is his arrogance and his propensity to do adharma that has caused the entire problem in the first place. So he is telling Dronacharya about all of this. He is having this conversation. Then slowly he mentions something very interesting where he says, our army, even though it's much bigger in terms of numbers, it feels incomplete. But on the other side of the battlefield, even though they have only 7 Akshohinis and we have 11 Akshohinis, their army feels complete for some reason. It just feels whole. And why is that? It is because of the presence of Bhagavan there. And then we go to the other side of the battlefield where on this side first, on the Kaurava side, Bhishmacharya, he blows the conch which signals the beginning of the war. And inspired by that, everyone gets that Josh. In fact, we use the word Josh in a lot of Indian languages. It comes from the Sanskrit dhatu Jush. It literally means the same thing. It means enthusiasm and excitement. So all of them get that enthusiasm and they start playing their kettle drums and all the vadyas that are used, instruments that are used in the battlefield. So everyone gets ready for war. Now on the other side, we see that Bhagavan is the first one to blow the conch. It is not Yudhishthira or it is not Arjuna who blows the conch first. Panchajanyam Rishikesho Devadattam Dhananjaya. First, Bhagavan blows his conch, then the Pandavas one by one, they start blowing their conches. So this goes to show that this entire war is a fight against adharma. It is not simply, at a very basic level, you can say it's a property dispute between brothers, but it is much more than that. And at another deeper level, it is the battle that goes on within us every single day. And we will continue from here. So on the other side of the battlefield, they all start blowing their conches, and this sound, it says, Sanjaya says, it terrifies the hearts of the Kauravas. The sons of Dhritarashtra, they are just terrified listening to the war cries that are coming from the other side of the battlefield. And then we look at Arjuna, who is our main character here. and Bhagavan is sitting as his charioteer, as his Sarathi. So when he's sitting there, it's a very beautiful scene. Tata Shvetair Hayair Yukte, white horses. There are beautiful white horses which are powering the chariot, moving the chariot. Bhagavan is sitting as the Sarathi and Arjuna is sitting on the back. The Kathopanishad gives us a very, very beautiful example of how the chariot represents our entire body. Upanishad says, Atmanam rathinam vidhi, shariram ratamevato, buddhim tu saratim vidhi, manah pragrahamevacha, indriya anihaya nahuhu, vishayansteshu gocharan, atmendriya mano yuktam, bhoktetyahurmanishinaha. Who is this person who's sitting in the chariot? On the battlefield, who is it? It's Arjuna who's sitting in the as the passenger, Krishna who is driving, and you have horses which are pulling the chariot. And Kathopanishad says there's a deeper meaning to this. And by the way, Kathopanishad and Bhagavad Gita are very closely linked. You will find many instances where the mantras from Kathopanishad are quoted verbatim by Bhagavan in the Bhagavad Gita. They have a very similar structure and there are many mantras which are very closely linked. So, who is this charioteer? It is the individual self, the jiva. What is the chariot itself? Shariram rathamevatu. This body is our chariot. Who is the charioteer, the person who is driving this chariot? It is the intellect, vijnana. Then what are the reins of the horse? Because for the charioteer to control his horse, he needs reins. In the modern context, with a car, it would be a steering wheel. Okay, what is the steering wheel or what is the reins? It is the mind, manas. Then what do the horses represent? They represent our 5 sense organs. And the path that the horses are going in, it represents the objects of the senses. For example, the object for the eye is form. The object for the ear is sound. The object for the tongue is taste. So these are the sense objects. Through our sense organs, we are interacting with the sense objects. This much we can say. So what is the most intelligent thing that Arjuna did? He made Bhagavan his charioteer. The intellect which is supposed to guide us is often the person which puts us into a lot of trouble. If we don't have the right kind of direction in life. Let's say it's a very good horse, it's a very good chariot, and the passenger knows where he wants to go, but if the charioteer doesn't know where to go, it's a problem. And what did Arjuna do? That driving seat, he didn't sit there, he let Bhagavan sit there. And even we can do the same thing. Instead of, even if we might not have the bhagyam of having Bhagavan directly as our charioteer, we have the upadeshas of Bhagavan. So instead of thinking, I will live my life the way I want to, and who is the Shastra or the Rishi to tell me how I should live, if we are intelligent enough to see that they know 1,000 times more than what we can ever imagine, and we give them the control, we give the control over our lives, the decisions of our life, we give the control to the Rishis. That is why every single aspect of our life is governed. If you look at the Shastra, there is not a single aspect in our daily lives that is not governed by the Shastras. So instead of us trying to experiment and use our brain and making a mess out of our lives, the Rishis have given us such a beautiful time-tested path. All we have to do is trust them. Like Arjuna trusted Krishna. With the same level of trust if we can have with the Shastra, then we also have this Vijnana Sarathi. The word Vijnanam itself is very beautiful. Vijnanam can mean intellect. It can also mean direct realization of the self. So when a realized soul is giving you instructions, you have to give it the same importance, the same kind of respect you would give if Bhagavan himself was teaching you. So Arjuna very intelligently has given the Sarathya to Krishna. But again, because of his position, he also gets a certain pride. Now Arjuna is a good person. He is the one who has fallen at Bhagavan's feet and said, I don't want your Narayani Sena. You come with me, that is enough. Now even this person, even this Arjuna suddenly gets some ego, because ultimately he is a warrior, so he has that pride within him. So he calls Krishna in quite a intimidating tone and says, Senayor Ubhayor Madhye Ratham Sthapayamechyuta. He says, hey Krishna, drive my chariot to the middle of the battlefield between the two armies. Kair Maya Sahayodhavyam Asmin Ranasamudhyame. I want to see who has come to fight with me. If you notice, it's interesting. Even Duryodhana, when he did the same thing with Dronacharya, now even Arjuna is taking the same tone with Krishna. So what this shows is, even if you have the right intellect, Arjuna was intelligent enough to get Bhagavan onto his side in the beginning. But even then, sometimes in the middle of that situation, our ego will take over. Our ego will take over where we start thinking Bhagavan is our servant. We start thinking we are doing the Guru a favor by listening to their teachings. Or we think we are doing the Rishis a favor by listening to their teachings. There's one very funny story one Swami told me. Two Shishyas were there and they are serving a Mahatma. So what happens? These two Shishyas, they're very competitive. So if this guy does something, the other guy wants to do something. Especially the new Shishya is extremely competitive. He wants to become the primary disciple, so he is always competing. And one day what is happening? One person is massaging the left foot of the Guru and the other person is massaging the right foot of the Guru. Now a mosquito comes and sits on the right foot. So the Shishya who is massaging the left foot, he hits it. Then the other guy asks, why are you hitting my foot? He says, no, there was a mosquito there. So does that, you could have still told me, that doesn't give you the right to touch my foot. This is the foot that I am responsible for. How dare you touch it? Because next time you do something like that, I will not hit with my hand. I will take some stronger wooden stick or iron rod and I'll break your leg. And whose leg in question is it here? It's the Guru's leg. It is not any of their legs. Now the Guru is worried. These two guys in the middle of their fight, they might end up breaking his leg. And they say, can you please both stop fighting? And the Shishyas reply, Guruji, this is our personal matter, you don't interfere. It is his leg that is in question here, but it becomes their personal matter. So even in spirituality, even though we have surrendered, even though we have come here, after coming here, our ego will stand up again. Our ego, temporarily you can keep it down, but once in a while it will stand up again. That is what happened to Arjuna as well. But Arjuna, he has already surrendered to Bhagavan. So Bhagavan will take care of how to break that ego down into pieces and teach him a lesson. So Bhagavan is a very intelligent teacher that way. If you see Bhagavad Gita, you will see so many beautiful methodologies that Bhagavan uses to teach. In fact, to become a teacher, I would say, if you understand how Bhagavan taught Arjuna, that itself will make you a much better teacher. And of course, if you understand what he taught, that will make you a supreme teacher. But Bhagavan, what he does, he says, oh, ego, is that what it is? I know how to break that ego. So what he does, he drives the chariot straight to the middle of the battlefield where he knows Arjuna's weaknesses. He knows that Arjuna is extremely attached to Bhishmacharya and Dronacharya. So correctly he goes and parks the chariot in front of them. And Krishna is also not a very, he's not a very silent person, he's quite cheeky. What does he do? He doesn't just stop there, he points to Dronacharya and Bhishmacharya and says, Uvacha partha pasyetan samavetan kuruniti. He says, Arjuna, you said you wanted to see the people who have come to fight with you, right? See, Bhishmacharya is there, Dronacharya is there, your beloved Guru, your beloved grand uncle, everyone is there. You wanted to see, see it. Now the moment Bhagavan points this out, Arjuna has a complete breakdown. His ego gets such a severe blow that he breaks down on the spot. And one Swami says, samsara was always like this. It is not that until yesterday Arjuna did not know that Bhishmacharya and Dronacharya are going to be there. He was very well aware. He has planned his battle strategies accordingly. But what happens is, when the Guru points out that samsara is dukkha, that is when you get this realization. Otherwise, no matter how much you struggle in samsara, we see many people like that. They have gone through the kinds of difficulties that we can't even imagine. That kind of difficulty they've gone through in life, but no vairagya. They're still so attached, they're still so interested only in the world and nothing else. Why is that? Because A guru has not pointed out that samsara is dukkha to them. A guru has to hold your hand and say, Uvacha partha pashyetan samavetan kuruniti. Just the way Bhagavan pointed out the inherent flaws of samsara to Arjuna, we also need a Sadguru who will point out that flaws to us. And it is only because of the grace of this Guru that we are able to have this realization. Otherwise, it will only be depression. Many people think if you get difficulties, you will automatically become spiritual. Difficulty alone will not make you spiritual. Difficulty along with the Guru's guidance has the potential for spirituality, has the potential to give you vairagya. So the moment Bhagavan points this out, Arjuna immediately breaks down crying. And I was once listening to a neuroscientist speak about this, and he said, the next few verses that we see, it is the most perfect depiction of an anxiety attack. When a neuroscientist or a psychologist has to describe the symptoms of a panic attack or an anxiety attack, if they know these shlokas, then they can perfectly describe it, because there isn't a more accurate description of a panic attack. So psychology is something our rishis understood way before it was even a subject in modern science. So he says, I see such evil omens around us. I'm sweating. Arjuna himself is just blabbering. He's not able to control himself. He says, I see such bad omens around us. I'm not able to stand. My head is going round and round. I have tears in my eyes. My throat is getting choked. My skin feels like it's on fire. And I'm not able to stand. I'm sweating. My Gandiva, my bow is slipping out of my hand. This is everything we experience when we hear a terrifying news. Right? We're not able to stand. We want to sit down. We feel like we'll faint. Then our head starts spinning. All of this has started happening to Arjuna. And that Arjuna, who has fought multiple wars, finally sees what the problem is. Because he doesn't see warriors on the other side. All this while he has fought so many wars, no doubt about that. He is one of the greatest warriors of the time, but he has only fought against opponents. But now what did he see? Why is he breaking down now? Such a great warrior, why is he breaking down now? Bhagavad Gita says, Tatra pashyat sthitan parthaha pitrinata pitamahan acharyan matulan bhratrin putran pautran sakinstata. He doesn't see warriors on the other side. He sees people who are like his father, people who are his grand uncles, people who are his gurus. And he looks at both sides of the army. The guru is on one side, the shishya is on one side. The father is on one side, the son is on one side. The uncle is on one side, the nephew is on the other side. So he sees his mother's side relatives, he sees his father's side relatives, he sees different people on different sides of the battlefield, and that is what hits him very hard. Even for us it's like this. If someone else has a problem, then we don't care about it. When that problem presents itself in our life, then it becomes an issue. Only then we truly understand what it feels like to be in their situation. Otherwise we can say, I understand your concern, I understand your problem. All of that simply we can say to console the other person. But only when that situation comes into our life, we truly see, we truly understand what the other person is going through. At the moment this happens, immediately we break down. But in the middle of this breakdown, something very interesting happens, where Arjuna says, Nakankshe vijayam Krishna, nacha rajyam sukhani cha, kim no rajyena govinda, kim bhogair jivitena va. He says, I don't want this kingdom anymore. I don't want to fight this battle. Nacha rajyam sukhani cha. I don't want all the pleasures that I can gain by winning this war. If you become a king, obviously you can enjoy a lot of pleasure. He says, I don't want any of those pleasures. Because what is the point of all of this? He is the one who has initiated this war and come here and he is standing. But now suddenly he is saying, what is the point of all of this? What are we even trying to achieve by all of this? How can I kill my own relatives? How can I kill my own guru? How can I kill the people who mean so much to me? He gives multiple reasons. All of this, by the way, are very, very valid reasons as to why war should be avoided. If you read this part of it, you will understand the problems of war. And it's not just those huge wars that happen. Even in our own lives, what all problems will be caused if we fight with others, that we can understand. First, he says, the social order will get disrupted. Sometimes wars are so terrible that it takes 2-3 generations just to cope from that war. So many children become orphans, so many women lose their husbands, people lose their brothers, their fathers, their relatives. All of this is gone. There's so much destruction that happens around. Then he also says, all these are my relatives. That is his fundamental argument. Generally, when we want to win something, we want to earn a lot of money, nobody wants to earn all of that money for themselves alone. They want some people around them. If I tell you I'll give you $10 million or 100 crore rupees, and but the only condition is you should not speak to another human being until the rest of your life, nobody will take that. So what do we want? We are not so large-hearted that we want to help everyone in the world, but we want a small group of people with us to enjoy life. We want our family, our close group of friends, the relatives that we like, only they should be there, others should not be there. That is how we want to enjoy life, with our family and friends. That's why for any occasion, any function in our house, why do we invite people? Because you're perfectly capable of doing that puja alone also at home, but we want those people that we love around us. And Arjuna says, the people for whose sake we fight, the people for whose sake we want to earn money, they are standing on the other side of the battlefield. The relatives who I want to enjoy the rest of my life with, they are on the other side. What will I get by killing them and getting this kingdom? So on one side, it is the compassion. Now even Dronacharya is seeing Arjuna, but he doesn't feel, how can I kill my Shishya? Bhishmacharya is seeing his grandnephews. He doesn't feel, how will I kill them? Duryodhana, you don't even have to ask. He absolutely has no compassion. But Arjuna, you can see that at least he is the only person who's stopping to think, is this really required? Do we really have to do this? What are we going to gain out of this? And this is a question we have to ask ourselves in our own lives. Whenever we start something new or we're doing something, what am I trying to get out of this? Why am I doing this? How many people are going to get affected by this? Am I making a positive impact, negative impact? How is this benefiting me? All of these questions, the vichara begins to happen within Arjuna. And he is lucky that Jagat Guru, Bhagavan himself, is right next to him. And then he says, you know what, he himself comes to a conclusion, you know what, this is absolutely not worth it. Because of my selfishness, so many people are going to die. I don't want this. And what you see for the rest of this adhyaya is just in circles, in different permutations and combinations, the same few arguments again and again Arjuna will say. Because when someone's really upset, they will keep saying the same thing twice or thrice. They can't organize their thoughts. They don't come with a structure like a meeting. They don't come with agenda and bullet points. They're just ranting. They're just getting everything out of their system. So what Arjuna went through, it is fair to call it Vishada. Vishada means despondency, or you can also use the word depression. But the name of the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So how does depression become a yoga? How does despondency, a feeling of helplessness, how does anxiety become yoga? And one Swami very beautifully said, it is because he complained to Bhagavan. What is yoga? Yoga again comes from the Sanskrit dhatu yuj. Yuj means to join, union, communion. This is how you define the word, the dhatu yuj, from which the word yoga comes. So, however you get connected to God, it's okay. When you are sad, if you go cry to Bhagavan, it's okay. At least there you get connected to Bhagavan. In Tamil, there is a very beautiful grantha called Tiruvasagam. There is a section of the Tiruvasagam which is called Tirupolambal. Polambal in Tamil means lamenting. But Tiru is something, you can say it's like divine. So what is this divine lamenting? What is this Vishada Yoga? It is when you stop telling your problems to your neighbor and your relatives and bothering them with it, and start telling your problems to someone who can actually solve it. Poor thing, what we are doing is, in the name of expressing ourselves, it is good to the extent that you don't repress it, because that is another extreme. If you keep your feelings to yourself, you keep swallowing it, one day it is all going to burst out. So that is also not recommended. But if you go tell your problems to others, there are multiple things. One, there are people who hate you who will feel good, this only should happen to him. Then there are the people who don't really care and they will think, why are they telling me all of this? Like, I want to listen to the sad story that is their life. And then there'll be another group of people who genuinely care about you. What will happen to them? They'll get even more worried. Because until that point in the day, they were very happy. You came and unloaded all your problems on them and now they're sad. Now you have spoiled their mood also. Sometimes what will happen, they will say, oh, my life, don't even ask about it. They'll start telling their problems and now your mood is also affected. It's not, you're not just worrying about your own problems. Now you're worrying about this other person's problems also. So, when we speak to other human beings about this, there are some natural problems that come. But when we speak to Bhagavan about this, there is absolutely no problem. First, he is a very good listener. 24 hours, whenever you want, you can speak to him. Your friends have to be available, your family has to be available, and beyond a point, how long will they sit and listen to your sob story? They also have other things to do in life. Right? But Bhagavan is there available 24/7. There is no constraint of place, there is no constraint of time. Anytime you want to go and complain to him, he is ready to listen. And second thing, Bhagavan is someone who can actually solve your problem. There is no problem, you don't use in telling our problems to someone who cannot do anything about it. They will feel even more helpless that they can't help us. But if you go tell your problems to Bhagavan, then at least there is some hope that there will be a solution. So take this up like a vrata from today. Any problem that you have, I'm not saying you have to bear all of that, keep it in your head and take stress. Speak about it, cry about it, no problem, but not to any human being. Go approach Bhagavan. As one Mahatma who once said to one of his direct devotees, disciples, this disciple used to come every day to this Mahatma and he used to express his life's problems. Then this Swami asked, all that is fine, but why are you telling me all of this? And he said, Guruji, apart from you, who will I tell my problems to? And he continued. This Swami again listened for some more time and he said, all that is fine, Pa. Why are you telling me all of this? So then he said, without telling you, who else will you tell? Who else will I tell? And then the Swami asked, what puja do you do at home? He said, daily I do Devi Upasana. I have a small Devi at home and I do Upasana of that Devi. I do Devi Puja every day. He just looked at his disciple, the Guru said, is that a doll? You think that's just a doll that you're worshipping? Isn't she your mother? Can't you tell your problems to her? And this disciple later writes that after that day, he has never told his problems to anyone. It is not that he kept quiet. Every day his mother, the divine mother, Yadevi Sarvabhuteshu Matra Rupena Samsthita Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha. Devi Mahatmyam says, you get a little spark of love from your mother. She is the huge fire from which each of these sparks are coming. You put all the mothers in the universe together. I'm not just speaking about human mothers, all animals, insects, plants. You put all the mothers together, that is just a spark of the love and compassion that you can get from the Divine Mother. And when she is available to you in your puja room, why would you go complain to someone else? Because what can they even do? So this is what we need to learn. Vishada alone, depression alone will not help us progress spiritually. If we use this depression as a way to connect to Bhagavan, then we will progress spiritually. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Only if we use this Vishada to connect to Bhagavan, it will become a yoga. Which also goes to show any emotion you can use to connect to Bhagavan. You have anger, you express your anger towards Bhagavan, no problem. In fact, some of the greatest bhaktas, all their problems, there is a great Shiva Bhakta called Sakya Nayanar. He used to treat Shiva like a friend. Even Sundaramurti Nayanar, he used to treat Shiva like a friend. He used to go and tell Shiva, there is this girl that I saw, she is very beautiful, help me so that she will fall in love with me. All this he used to go tell Shiva happily, like a friend. So there is nothing that you can't tell Bhagavan, and either way Bhagavan knows what you're thinking. Right? So it's not like Bhagavan doesn't know who you are. With other people, we have this kind of hesitation that if I say this, what will they think of me? sometimes people say, don't judge me for this, but I want to ask something. And they will say something so bizarre that you cannot help judge them. And one Mahatma always says, what is the difference between us and someone we consider mentally unstable? There is only one simple difference. The person who we consider mentally unstable does not have a filter. Whatever thoughts or impulses that come, they act on it immediately. So we call them mentally unstable. But imagine, from tomorrow, whatever thoughts you have, it gets broadcast like a loudspeaker. What will happen to your relationships? What will happen to your life? What will happen to the people around you? Within a few days, they will go and declare you as mentally unstable. Because all of us have the worst kind of thoughts, all of us have intrusive thoughts, all of us have those. But only thing, we have this filter where we are very careful. Okay, this thought is there within me, but will this person cause trouble if they hear it? Or shall I reveal these thoughts in front of this person? So we very carefully choose who gets to hear which thought and who doesn't get to hear which thought. This is how all our personal relationships are. So, and everyone has their secrets. There are some thoughts that you have had that you cannot even tell anyone. They are so horrible, and they are the kind of thoughts that you feel ashamed to even speak about it. But it's all there within. What will you do with all of them? If you say it outside, your personal relationships go for a toss, and you feel it feels very vulnerable because they can use that against you anytime. But it's also eating you up from the inside. What will you do? How will you deal with it? Just do what Arjuna did. Just speak it out, cry it out to Bhagavan and to no one else. You see so many great Mahatmas. Mirabai's songs, if you see, every single problem in her life, she has spoken about it to her Giridhara Gopal. So this is how even Vishada can be turned into yoga. So if we try to use our own intellect, we try to use our own friends and family, and we think he will help me, she will help me, it is not going to work. Or you will think I am self-sufficient, I will do it myself, it's not going to work. The moment we break down and surrender to Bhagavan, that's when our spiritual journey starts. So what does Arjuna do here? He throws his bow and arrow and he just sits and says, Krishna, I cannot do this. No matter what, I cannot do this. And with this, the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita ends. And then the second chapter starts. Now Arjuna, poor thing, he has expressed his problem. He is going through an emotional dilemma. He doesn't know what to do. What would you expect someone on the other side to do? If someone is telling you their problem, someone is crying their heart out to you, and they have dropped everything, and that person is just sat with their hands on their head saying, I don't know what to do. I'm not going to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm confused, I'm scared, I'm anxious, I'm panicking. I'm just going through so many emotions that I can't even name right now. So we will expect some sympathy from the other person, right? We will think, okay, if I say all of this, some people will pretend to have problems just to get some sympathy from it. Because especially with old people, I've heard this happens, where they want to go to the doctor, and if the doctor says you are fine, they get irritated. Because they want the doctor to say, oh, your health is in very bad condition, you are very strong that you are pulling through all of that. That sympathy, that emotional support is what they want. They actually don't care as much about the diagnosis. And that is probably what Arjuna was expecting. But instead he gets a harsh scolding from Bhagavan. The first words Bhagavan utters in the Bhagavad Gita itself is a scolding. The second adhyaya, second shloka, Bhagavan says, Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupasthitam anarya jushtamasvargyam akirtikaram arjuna klaibyam asmagamaf partha naitatvayupapadyate kshudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktvottishta parantapa. He says, what is this kashmala? Kashmala means it is a state of weakness. What kind of weakness is this? Vishame samupasthitam. Vishama is the opposite of sama. Sama means equanimity, being balanced. Vishama is when you lose your balance and you are just, fallen down. You have lost a very balanced and right way of thinking, and you are given into your emotions. That would be Vishama sthiti. And the deeper meaning of Vishama is Ajnana. Samadrishti is jnana. Vishama drishti is ajnana. So, what is this vishama? What is this despondency that you have given into? Why are you giving into your emotions like this? Anarya jushtam aswargyam akirtikaram Arjuna. This is not befitting of an Arya. And the word Arya has been misused so much that we don't even know its actual meaning. In the Vedas and the Shastras, the word Arya can either mean an extremely noble person or it can even mean a Brahmajnani. Arya is not a particular race of people or anything like that. The way it is used in the Shastras, it appears in all the Vedas starting from Rig Veda. It appears in the Ramayanam. In so many places it appears. Jagadguru Shankaracharya's mother's name was Arya Devi. So the word Arya means a respected, noble person. And in the spiritual context, an Arya means a Jnani, a Brahmajnani, an enlightened person. Or someone who is highly spiritual. That is whom we refer to as an Arya. So he says, this is not befitting of a noble person like you. Aswargyam. It was believed that Kshatriyas, that still is the idea, that Kshatriyas or warriors, if they die on the battlefield, they go to Veeraswarga. They go to a place after death where they are honored for the sacrifice they made for their country. Because they are not killing people out of their whims and fancies. They are doing it to defend the country. And when that happens, even if they die on the battlefield, they get to go to Swarga. Akirtikaram Arjuna. Bhagavan says, forget attaining Brahmajnana. If you're spiritual, you will attain Brahmajnana. If you're at least a good warrior, you will go to Veeraswarga after death. Or forget all of that. You have such good reputation in this society, you will spoil all of that also. So in this world also, you will spoil the reputation that you have. You won't go to Veeraswarga also, you will not attain Jnanam also. He says that is the kind of state that you are sitting in. Sitting and crying is not going to save anything. Klaibhyam asmagamaf partha naitatvayupapadyate. This state of indecision, shall I do this, shall I not do this, this state of panic and indecision does not befit a warrior like you. Shudram hridaya daurbalyam tyaktva uttishta parantapa. He says, let go of this weakness of the heart. Hridaya daurbalyam. You should have the heart of a lion. Tyaktva uttishta parantapa. He says, get up. So what is this? It is the Guru who is waking us up. In the Kathopanishad, again, there is the famous mantra that Swami Vivekananda rephrased as, arise, awake and stop not till the goal is reached. That is a direct quote from the Kathopanishad. Uttishtata jagrata prapyavaran nibodhata kshurasya dhara nishita duratyaya durgam patastat kavayo vadanti. The mother called the Upanishad is waking us up. She says, my dear child, why are you suffering in samsara like this? Get up. Jagrata, arise, awake. First you physically get up, then it's also important that you become mentally alert. I remember once I was traveling by train and right opposite to me there is this 5-year-old child. Okay, we are clearly about 1 hour away from our destination and his father starts waking up this little girl saying, get up, in 5 minutes we are going to reach the station. And I thought, in my naivety, I thought he doesn't know that the station is 1 hour away. And I told him, sir, no, actually the station is 1 hour away. He just smiled at me because he could see clearly this person has no experience in raising children. So he's very confused. He's absolutely clueless. So he just smiled at me and he let me be. Okay, then he woke up the child. First from this side, she turned to the other side, she fell asleep. Then 5 minutes later, again he woke her up. She said, and she went back to sleep. Then again 5 minutes later, he woke her up. She did this thing, I still remember. Her head is facing down. She just raised her hand like this. And then her father told me it means 2 more minutes. Okay, then finally he managed to physically wake her up and sit her. Then on his shoulder, she slept for 10-15 more minutes. Then after all of that, about 45 minutes later, she finally woke up fully, right in time for the station. That's when I realized, oh, maybe the father knows what he's doing. I was the clueless one. So we are also like this. Slowly, little by little only we wake up. First we are in the deep slumber of Maya. Gaudapadacharya says, Anadi Mayaya Suptaha. We are sleeping since beginningless time. So we are PhDs in sleeping. We are fallen in this samsara, we are suffering, but we are in this deep slumber. So what the Guru does, little by little, little by little, little by little, he wakes us up. Now, Bhagavan has been trying this for a lot of time. In the same situation, imagine that even after all of this, that little girl didn't wake up. I'm pretty sure she would have got an earful, or her father would have had to shake her up and wake her. That is what you have to do with children. You try, you try, you try. Eventually, at one point, you know it's going to get late for school. You either scream at them or you do something drastic like switching off the fan, which has to wake them up. So what Bhagavan has done is, from so many janmas, he is trying to wake us up. But we, like that little girl, we are saying 2 minutes. Someone calls us for Bhagavad Gita satsang. No, I'm little busy today. Today I don't have the time. Anyway, there are so much. I'm just 25 years old. So much time is there. I'll do Gita later. After old age, after retirement, I will do. Some or the other reason we keep giving and we don't wake up. So what Bhagavan does, sometimes he gives one tight slap to wake us up. Because he has tried everything else. He has tried coming in the form of Upadesha. He has tried sweetly telling us, don't fall down in samsara. By giving us a path called dharma, he has told us, don't fall too much into samsara. How much ever is required, be an ethical, moral person, do things well. So many things he has done. He has given us Mahapurusha Samparka. There are so many great saints who are there to guide us. Despite having all of this, we just refuse to wake up. That is the problem. Despite having all of these resources at our disposal, sometimes we just refuse to wake up. So what does Bhagavan do? Bhagavan, finally, he just gives us one tight slap and says, wake up. What is wrong with you? Why are you still fallen in samsara like that? And before that, he also creates a situation like that. Most people we see in spirituality, they have come here after some serious trouble in their life. 95% of the time, it is the death of a loved one. It is always like that. In fact, when someone close to you passes away, everyone gets vairagya. But for some people, that vairagya is there only in the crematorium. That's why it's called smashana vairagya. You listen to someone who has just lost someone who is very dear to them. They will say, yeah, that is life, what to do. Everyone who is born has to die one day. Even our life will go away like this. We are simply wasting our time doing so many different things. What is the point of all of this? All of this they will say at the crematorium. The moment they come back home and drink one coffee or tea, all of that is gone, and again you have to start thinking about your own life. That is what we all do. This is how Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam keeps on going. Right? We keep getting stuck in this cycle of samsara. But once in our lifetime, something so terrible, something so unimaginable happens that we are forced to wake up. It is like a shock that is given to us, a wake-up call that is given to us. Also, just a point to note, if you have already come here, then don't worry, you are safe. You are the child who has already woken up. Many people think, oh, I have not experienced anything like that in life. Does that mean that something is waiting for me? No, if you are here, that means you are relatively safe. Maybe in the last Janma itself, you have got nice beating. So now you have learnt your lesson and you have come here. So if you have already come here, there is nothing to worry about. But when you look back at life and you look back at all the problems that you have faced, remember that that is what has led you here. That is the wake-up call that Bhagavan had to give you in order to bring you here. So again, one wake-up call Bhagavan already gave. That was a very sneaky one. He said, Partha Pashyaitan Samavetan Kuru. He said, look at all your beloved relatives who have come to fight with you. That was the first wake-up call. Now, that was so unbearable that Arjuna falls into despondency. So Bhagavan now again says, get up, tyaktva uttishta parantapa. There is no point in sitting and crying about it. There is a problem of samsara. It is filled with dukkha. You have to get up and do something about it. Simply sitting and crying about it and submitting or taking this defeated victim mentality is not going to work. Then Arjuna asks, how can I do it? He says, Krishna, you are saying get up, you are saying fight, but how will I do it? Katham Bhishma Maham Sankhye, Dronam cha Madhusudana. How will I fight against Bhishmacharya? How will I fight against Dronacharya? Because first of all, I don't feel like fighting against them. Pujarhaha, he says, they are all worthy of being worshipped. I should be worshipping my guru, I should be worshipping my grand uncle, but instead of that, you are asking me to fight with them. How is that even possible? And second thing, even if I do fight against them, even if I do win against them and I get this kingdom, it will be drenched in their blood. Rudhira pradigdhan, he says. It will be drenched in the blood of Bhishmacharya and Dronacharya and my cousins. How can I do that? He keeps reasoning, he keeps reasoning, he keeps reasoning. Finally, he comes to the point that you want every Shishya to come to. The 7th shloka of the 2nd Adhyaya is a very, very important shloka. Bhagavan as a guru is always there. Krishna and Arjuna have known each other for so many years. But that guru tattva does not manifest until you become a Shishya. It is a spiritual law that if the Shishya is ready, the guru will break the roof and appear there. But for that, you have to become a Shishya. Many people say, I don't have a guru, I don't have a guru. What should I do? That means you have not become a Shishya. If the flower blossoms, the honeybee will come. Similarly, if you blossom, the guru will come looking for you. You don't even have to go looking for the guru will come looking for you. And all these days, why Arjuna has played so many roles. Bhishmacharya says in Bhagavatam, Yammanyase matuleyam priyam mitram suhrittamam akaros sachivam dutam sauhridadata sarathim. You are the person you think of as your cousin, the person you think of as your political advisor, as your friend, as your charioteer, that is Bhagavan himself. But all these days he treated him as a friend, as a cousin, as a charioteer, as a political advisor, as a messenger of peace. All of this he did, but he never considered him as a guru. So Bhagavan also didn't teach. Then now what happens? He finally opens his mouth. And Arjuna says, Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha prichhami tvam dharma sammodhachetaha yachreyasyan nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. He says, I've become a kripana. I've become crippled with fear. I don't know what to do. Prichhami tvam. He says, all this while he was talking. Now finally he says, I am asking you, Bhagavan, tell me what to do. Many people say, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa spoke to Kali. Why am I not able to speak to Bhagavan? You should let him speak, no? If you keep going on and on and on, if you see the first Adhyaya, did Arjuna even take a breath to let Bhagavan speak? No, he didn't. He's constantly ranting. So if we keep speaking, when will we have time to listen to what Bhagavan says? I heard a very beautiful quote that says, the difference between prayer and meditation is, prayer is you speak and Bhagavan listens. Meditation is Bhagavan speaks and you listen. So first we have to pray, then we meditate. First we tell our problems, but we also have to ask Bhagavan, what should I do now? Prichhami tvam dharma sammodhachetaha. He says, I'm totally confused. I don't know what to do. Yachreyasyan nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. He says, Shadhi means instruct me. Anushasanam, we say. Shadhi. Please give me the instruction on what is Shreyas. Now, the word Shreyas itself generally means good, but it also has a technical meaning, which means the highest good, moksha. The Upanishads speak about the Shreyo Marga and the Preyo Marga. So, if you want to attain happiness, there is a path of power and there is the path of peace. So, Shreyas is the ultimate peace, the ultimate good, which is moksha. He says, Bhagavan, I am completely confused. I don't know what to do. So I am asking you, you tell me what can I do. Please instruct me. I have surrendered to you. Shadhimam tvam prapannam. He says, I have surrendered myself completely to you. Please tell me what to do. This is the way that we approach a guru. First, Bhagavan himself says later in the Gita, the procedure is Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. First, what you have to do? You have to surrender to the Guru. Surrender means you have to leave your ego aside. You have to let go of this attitude. What does he know about my life? I know so many things. I am so well educated. I have so much experience. What is there that he can tell me that is of any benefit to me? This attitude has to go. You have to surrender to the Guru. You have to say, I don't know. Even if something that the Guru says doesn't make sense, the Guru says something and it feels wrong or it doesn't make sense, the attitude has to be, maybe I am not understanding. It should never be they don't know what they're talking about. It should never be the Rishis don't have no idea, Vyasa Maharshi has no idea, Shankaracharya has no idea. That is not the attitude. The attitude is, I'm pretty sure they know what they're talking about, but I am not able to understand.
So because I am not able to understand, what is the second step? Pariprashna. You ask questions. Even the Bhagavad Gita is a question answer only. Many people complain and say our children are not following dharma, they are asking questions. I'm sorry to inform you, that is the right way to learn about Sanatana Dharma. That without asking questions you cannot learn. But of course, if they have pranipata, it's good. If there is no pranipata, then it is a fault on their part. But someone asking questions is not seen as a bad thing in Sanatana Dharma. It is encouraged. It is the right way to learn. Bhagavan says in the learning methodology, the central part is asking questions. But the only thing is you have to ask questions to someone who knows the answer. Just because someone doesn't know the answer, it doesn't mean the answer does not exist. Or even if you ask the right person, there is a possibility that you are not understanding it. All these nuances are there, no doubt, but asking questions is not wrong. We need to get this out of our heads. Many people I've seen have this attitude: if someone asks a question, they are wrong. That is not true at all. If that was the case, we wouldn't have Bhagavad Gita. All the Puranas are question answers. The Vedas themselves contain so many question answers between Guru and Shishya. In fact, in one Anugrah Bhashanam, Sri Sannidhanam said, that is the reason we have so many granthas. Because we don't believe in this idea that one book is there, whatever is there in this book, you have to shut up and listen. That is not our approach. How many other questions you have, we are willing to sit and reason it out and explain it to you. And it is these explanations that have flown down as scriptures on top of scriptures on top of scriptures. Everything is in this form of Guru Shishya Samvada. But from the Shishya's side, what is required? Pranipata is required. First step, surrender to the Guru, have the intention of learning, and even if you don't understand something, you will eventually get it. Then you ask questions. The third step is Seva. Seva has two meanings. One is, it means you have to serve the Guru. Second meaning is you have to apply what the Guru is teaching. Simply you can't just go surrender, listen to them, then it goes in through this year, comes out through that year. That is not the right approach. You have to be willing to apply it. That makes a good Shishya. Now here also we see Arjuna in the same category. First he was just lamenting and lamenting and lamenting. Bhagavan didn't speak. Bhagavan just kept quiet. Because if someone is not ready to listen, if the student is not ready, there can be no teacher. If the student is not ready, even if the person on the opposite side is a great teacher to others, he cannot be a guru for this person. That's where we make a distinction between the words guru and acharya. Acharya is common, guru is personal. So acharya is someone who can teach the entire world. So you listen to someone online, that person is your acharya. But guru is someone who knows you and instructs you personally. So even an acharya, if you don't have bhakti, they cannot become your guru. If you don't personally connect with them, they cannot become your guru. So you surrender to them, you are able to ask questions and you are able to implement what they are saying. Only when the Shishya demonstrates that he has all of this, only then the Guru will teach. This is our sampradaya. We are not interested in dragging people and forcing them to follow this. The people who are really interested in this, it should be given to them. In fact, if you give it to people who are not interested, they will misuse it. Towards the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, Idante na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha shushrushave vachyam. You should not give this to someone who doesn't have tapas. You shouldn't give this to someone who doesn't have bhakti or shraddha, and you shouldn't give this to someone who is not interested in listening. The only exception being small children, because it is your duty to teach them what is right and what is wrong. And when I say children, it means below the age of 16. I often get people who tell me, my children are doing this, my children are doing that. How old are your children? 35 years old. I'm sorry, they're not children. They're fully grown adults. They probably have kids of their own. So when I say children, I mean below the age of 16. After the age of 16, prapte tu shodashe varshe putram mitravadacharit. Chanakya says, once your child has reached the age of 16, you have to treat them like a friend. You can give guidance, but understand that they're more like your friend now and not a child. And in Tamil, we have a very similar saying. It rhymes in Tamil. There's a nice word play. He said, Tolukku mela valandavan tholan, which means if they are tall, their height has gone beyond your shoulder. They are taller than your shoulder height. From that point onwards, you treat them as your friend. Which means if it pretty much goes on with the idea that around 13 to 16, once they reach that age, you have to treat them like a friend. coming back to our original point, only when the Shishya becomes a disciple, or that Shishyatva comes, then the Guru Tattva manifests. Otherwise, the Bhagavad Gita has been there for so many years, for so many thousands of years, but we have never made use of it. So the Puranas, the Vedas, everything has been there for thousands and thousands of years. But it will be useful to you only if you become a Shishya. Otherwise, the knowledge is there. The knowledge will not get affected by you learning it or not learning it. But only when we become Shishyas, then this knowledge starts to help us. And it is only after this, after Arjuna finally stops lamenting and he says, Bhagavan, I don't know what to do. Please help me. Please tell me what to do. Please instruct me on what I should do. Because my intellect has failed entirely. Then Bhagavan begins to teach. That is why this shloka is something that people often, when you're stuck with something in life and you don't know how to move forward, you're in a conundrum, a lot of people, as a practice, they chant this shloka multiple times. Once you understand the meaning, it's even more effective, and submit to Bhagavan so that in some way Bhagavan will come and guide us. We'll continue this in the next satsang. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha.